So in this video, we'll look at the past, the present, and the future of startups. Okay. So the history of startups, small businesses have been with us for a long time, but the boom came in hardware, small companies in Silicon Valley in 1950s, 60s after the invention of transistor. So this was very important invention. After that, a lot of employees left big companies and they started their own companies. The reason for this being in Silicon Valley, California, was that there was a lot of educated talent there. There was a lot of venture capital, and there was a culture of collaboration and innovation. So all the startups were exchanging a lot of information among themselves. There were not many non-compete clauses. The talent was there. Stanford University is one of the biggest drivers of entrepreneurship startup ecosystem in the world, and of course, money was available as venture capital. Another big moment in startup sort of history is when Apple was formed in 1976 by two people who were just college dropouts and gave rise to one of the biggest companies on the planet. So this made people believe that yes, two people, three people in a smaller setup also can compete and make something big, which can compete with bigger companies. Then in 1990, in the ending of 1990, there were a lot of startup boom. Here you can see the number of venture capital investment rose exponentially, right? But then there was a sort of burst which happened, and all the money was went away. A lot of companies shut down. There were a lot of companies opening without any market backing, without any substantial business. Just everyone was blindly chasing .com companies. But then after that, it has replenished and went back, and now you can see every quarter in US, $10 billion are invested in startups and in through venture capital, and of course throughout the world this figure will be much larger. So now coming to the definition of startups. So there are a lot of definitions, but the one I really like is this one, that it's an organized structure to search for a repeatable and scalable business model. So two words are very important: repeatable and scalable. So repeatable means your business should be repeated after some time. It should not be that once person or customer um, came and then does not come back. So the person or the customer should come back again and again. And scalable means today, if you have 10 customers, tomorrow, if you have 100 customers, there should not be very difficult to do that, right? So scalable and repeatable is very important. So any idea that you think, always think from these two sort of dimension. Is it repeatable? Is it scalable? Like Uber is a repeatable model. Every day or every other day you can use Uber, and scalable also. Today, Uber is present, I think, all over the world. And how they have done that using technology, using whatever network they have really scaled that model, right? In a very small time, it's all over the world. So that is the kind of model which startups have, right? And startups refer to new businesses that intend to grow beyond a solo founder. So what's the difference between startup and a small shop or a bakery in your locality, right? So the bakery will not grow as fast as startup, right? They will have their own set of customers, but they will just serve those. They will not intend to grow beyond a certain region. But startups are repeatable and scalable, as we said, and they want to grow very fast. And similar is example of say Flipkart in India. It's a very small time they have grown to such a big customer base. Almost all over India they supply. So how you can create that sort of organization, or how you can search for such a model, that is what qualifies as startup. And startup generally, to talk about few properties, pick up a new need, right? If it's already been done, some big company is already doing it, then there is not much sort of scope there, right? Because already big company is doing creating something. Then if you want, as a smaller setup, want to create it, it will be very difficult because people will always choose the bigger brands. So how you can do something which is different, some different kind of need and underserved need, that is where startups come. Like another example, Flipkart, when it came, there were not too many e-commerce companies. Like e-commerce itself was very new, so they worked on it and created such a big entity, right? So that those are the new areas which startup work on. And of course, because they work on these new areas, there's a lot of uncertainty, and unfortunately or fortunately startups have very high failure rate of 90%, and these are the reasons. Okay, these are some startup stats all over the world now. Startups, it's not a thing which is just you can ignore. All over the world, US has 65,000 startups, India has around 8,000, 10,000 startups, and UK and so on. And China I have not included here, right? So you can imagine what a scale of startup has been, and now they are part of the economy. They are adding like 1.5 trillion dollars valuation, um, all the 495 unicorns. So unicorn is a startup which has $1 billion valuation, right? So there are 495 unicorn, and in India also there are 53 unicorns. So in India, like Flipkart, Paytm, Byju's, all are unicorn startups. They have more than 1 billion valuation. Okay, so finishing off, what is the future of startups? It is very risky. Will they just stop and big companies take over? I think in the future, in the near future, we'll see major growth, because open source technology which startups use mostly, right? It's open, it's free. People know how to use it, and why not? If they have an idea, they will definitely use it. People have belief, people have seen this happening, like we talked an example of Apple, where they created two college dropout created world's biggest company. Then what is stopping anybody to at least try, right? Education is available, venture capital is also available today, funding. If you have a good idea, scalable and a repeatable idea, and you can show that 100, 200, 500 customers are really using and liking what you are doing, I think venture capital is not that difficult today. Mentorship is available. A lot of ex entrepreneurs have become investors, mentors. Lot of courses are there, right? So these factors will always only enhance the growth of startups. And of course, government is also supporting. We see the initiative like Startup India, where there are a lot of benefit, tax benefit. There is mentorship available for startups, and government also recognizes that startups create a lot of jobs, a lot of high quality jobs. Then why they will not support them? So yeah, this was it. The history where it started in Silicon Valley. The present, we know a lot of unicorns in the world. In India only there are 53 unicorns, and the future also seems bright. So in the next video, we'll look at how to get good startup ideas. Thanks.